The hunt begins. For weeks the beast of Dunkelwald has stalked our nights, a shadow with claws, a whisper of death in the wind. But tonight, the village of Holzbach fights back. The old blacksmith, his face grim, pounds the last of the silver into arrowheads, each strike a promise of vengeance. In their homes, men and women bar their doors, clutch their makeshift weapons and say their prayers. They will not be prey tonight. They are the hunters now. A silver moon hangs in a starless sky, the only witness to what is to come. The air grows cold, still. The forest holds its breath. The final hunt is on. The scent of pine and damp earth hangs heavy in Bruno's small hut. He stands silhouetted against the window, the moonlight catching the polished curve of his yew bow. With deliberate, practiced movements, he notches the silver-tipped arrow. Each motion is a prayer, a ritual honed by a lifetime in the forest. Across the village square, Gerald, the stout village elder, makes his final rounds. He tugs at the heavy iron bolt on the community hall door, his knuckles white. The wood groans in protest, a sound that echoes the collective tension of the village. Inside, huddled with the children, his daughter Ida clutches a small wooden charm, her lips moving in a silent, desperate plea. A low rumble, more felt than heard, begins to vibrate through the floorboards. The clay pots on Ida's shelf rattle a nervous tune. The camera, our eye, shakes. The view shifts. We are now looking out from inside the old barn, peering through the slight gap between the heavy wooden doors. A thick, swirling fog blankets the ground, obscuring everything beyond a few feet. It muffles all sound, creating a world of grey and silence. Then, a shape coalesces within the mist. It's a suggestion at first, a darker patch of grey, but it moves with a terrifying, unnatural fluidity. It's massive, far larger than any wolf or bear. It glides through the fog, a silent predator closing in. The ancient wood of the barn groans as the very air seems to press in on it. A forgotten chain, hanging from a rafter, begins to sway and clink softly, a lonely metallic chime against the encroaching dread. Suddenly, the silence is annihilated. The shadow detaches from the fog and hurtles towards Bruno's hut. The impact is explosive. We see it in brutal slow motion, the thick oak door splintering like kindling, wood fibers flying through the air like shrapnel. The camera is thrown back as the beast, a maelstrom of black fur and flashing teeth, bursts into the small space. Bruno is ready. He doesn't flinch. He draws the bowstring back to his cheek, the silver arrowhead glinting in the dim light of his lantern. There's a sharp twang as he releases, but the creature is impossibly fast. It swats the arrow aside with a colossal paw, the silver shaft clattering uselessly against the stone hearth. The beast roars, a sound that isn't just heard but felt, a physical force that shakes the very foundations of the hut and the courage of the man inside. Chaos erupts. The camera becomes a frantic, hand-held participant in the terror. It whips around, catching fragmented images of panic. Villagers scream from their windows. Torches flicker wildly, casting long, dancing shadows that look like monsters themselves. Splintered wood and shattered pottery litter the ground. Amidst the pandemonium, young Conrad, who had been tasked with watching from the blacksmith's roof, scrambles down a ladder. His eyes are wide with a terrifying realization. He had watched Bruno's shot go astray. He saw the silver arrow, the village's only true hope, ricochet off the beast's hide and embed itself high in the ceiling of the great barn at the edge of the village. His voice, barely a croak, cuts through the noise. "The arrow, it's in the barn." He points, his hand trembling. "The barn! We have to trap him in the barn." The desperate cry galvanizes the villagers. Panic transforms into purpose. A plan, unspoken but universally understood, ripples through the crowd. It's a mad dash through the village, a race against the thundering footsteps of the monster that now crashes through fences and stalls in pursuit. Torches blaze, illuminating grimly determined faces. Men and women armed with pitchforks and axes act as a living wall, herding the beast, guiding its rage. They slam doors to abandoned cottages, creating a funnel, a path of least resistance that leads directly to their one final chance. The beast, blinded by its own fury, follows the fleeing lights, its roars echoing off the stone walls, believing it is chasing scattered prey, unaware it is being led into the jaws of a trap. The great oak barn looms ahead, its twin doors thrown wide open like a welcoming mouth. Vida and Conrad are the first to reach it, their lungs burning. They don't hesitate, dashing into the cavernous darkness within. They are the bait. As soon as they are clear, the villagers surge forward. With a collective heave, a dozen strong men and women slam the colossal gates shut. The sound of the heavy wooden bar dropping into its iron cradle is a thunderous, definitive clang. They are all in now. Inside, the air is thick with torch haze, smoke, and the dust of ages. The only light comes from the few torches they carried, casting the interior in a hellish, flickering orange glow. The beast, realizing it's been caged, lets out a roar of pure, unadulterated fury. It throws its immense weight against the doors, its claws scoring deep gouges in the ancient oak. Wood splinters, but the bar holds. From a hayloft above, Gerald appears, his face a mask of concentration. The chaos below seems to fade away as he focuses. He pulls the silver-tipped arrow from the rafter where it had lodged. The camera closes in, the silver head gleaming, seeming to absorb the scant light. He notches it, takes a deep, steadying breath, and aims down into the swirling smoke and shadow. The beast turns, its eyes glowing like malevolent embers, and fixes its gaze on him. For a heartbeat, everything goes silent. Then Gerald releases. The shot is pure instinct, a lifetime of hunting distilled into a single, perfect motion. Time stretches. We follow the arrow in extreme slow motion as it slices through the smoky air, a silver streak of hope. It finds its mark, sinking deep into the creature's chest. A howl, unlike any sound heard before, tears through the barn. It is a sound of shock, of pain, of disbelief. The beast staggers, its massive form swaying. It claws at the arrow, but its strength is fading. It takes a few stumbling steps, then collapses onto the hay-strewn floor with a ground-shaking thud. And then, silence. A profound ringing silence that is heavier than any noise that came before it. No one moves, no one breathes. They just wait, listening for a twitch, a growl, anything. But there is nothing. Only the sound of dust motes settling in the still air. Slowly, tentatively, the sun begins to rise. Golden rays of dawn pierce through the broken slats in the barn roof, cutting through the haze like holy lances. The dust motes dance in the light. The long night is over. Hesitantly, the villagers unbar the great doors and step out into the morning. The air is crisp and clean. In the distance they can hear the sound of children, who had been hidden away, now laughing as they emerge into the new day. The fields of Holzbach are bright, the forest a calm green sentinel once more. A voice, warm and weathered, speaks over the scene. They had always feared the darkness of the forest, the shadows that lived within it. But they learned that night that even the deepest darkness cannot extinguish the light, so long as there are those brave enough to hold the torch. The beast of Dunkelwald was no more. The legend, however, was just beginning. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into forgotten folklore. If you enjoyed the story of Dunkelwald, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more legends brought to life. We'll see you next time.